Let's welcome our host, Erica Wilson.
Great day, everyone. We're here live today with your girl, Erica Wilson, and it had to happen for our Wisdom Wednesdays, guys. And I have a two-timer on tonight. She's such a sweet young lady. I had the honor of meeting her through my sissy, who's no longer here, so God bless her soul. And I'm just glad that we were able to make that connection through my sissy. And like I said, she was here before, so she's a two-timer. And tonight's topic is life after death. Kayla is a mother of 3. One was called home to glory. He was murdered a couple of years ago, but I'll go ahead and let her tell you all about that. But just let me go ahead and bring in my girl, the Kayla Brown. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh.
I know. It's a long time. We were just talking in the green room, and I was talking about when you were here before, and you brought it to my attention like it was actually 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it don't even seem that long ago, Kayla. So, well, welcome back. And this topic on tonight is something that I want to help you do, because as I read your bio, I see that you want to bring awareness, right?
Right.
Before
Absolutely.
we jump into that, we may have some guests that may be on here, or some viewers that may be on here and don't know who's Kayla Brown. So if you can tell a bit about who is Kayla Brown.
Oh my goodness. I am, first of all, I'm a mom of 3 amazing boys. Keith, who was called home August 23rd, 2018. Keyshawn, who is 23, who is my middle child. And Patrick, who is 16, who is, I don't even know what to call that kid. But those boys keep me going. I'm just a fun-loving person who's just trying to, be the best single mom that I can be, and just bring awareness to, gun violence and organ donation. It's not a lot about who I am. I'm just a simple, Midwestern that moved to the southeast. To Florida, which is what the southeast, and just trying to make it. That's about all I am.
No, that's not about all you are, Kayla. That is not. I know you have more than that. Well, who were you before you became a mother? Let's take it back there because here we want to bring awareness, definitely. But the thing is, we don't like to focus on the pain too much because I don't know how much that will be on you. But if you can just take us back, all right, just take us back before your son passed away.
Um, Before my son passed, I was honestly really, really lost. I was so lost. I was dealing with an abusive relationship and trying to figure my way through that. I hear a lot of people just say you could have just left, and it really wasn't, just that easy. Those words are easy to come out, but it just wasn't that easy. I'll be honest, I wanted to be in Florida all the time, so I endured, anything that he gave me for 7 years. And it's just one day I just couldn't take it anymore, and I left. And it just so happened that the last time I was there, I came there for bike week. Altercation happened, and I left here the way you see me now, and I came back to Nebraska with two black eyes, a concussion, a broken toe, and my head just spinning as to what I needed to do. And that was March, April of 2018. A few months later, my son was killed. But I was so lost then. I was so lost, and I was just trying to figure myself and figure out who I was, figure myself out, figure out the world and where I needed to go. I tell people all the time, it was a blessing and a curse that my son was taken away from me, because now my son, he pushes me. Some people don't believe in the afterlife, but he pushes me to go forward. If it's something that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing, he'll step in. I believe in the afterlife. He definitely steps in and says, "No, mom, that's not what we need to do," and then I won't do it. I won't do it. But before, I was just a lost soul, very lost.
I'm speechless because we done had several conversations and I never knew about what you just told me. And
Hmm.
you said something that stood out. You said that it's so easy for people to say, just leave, right?
Right.
Because they're not in the situation. And I was
Hmm.
just having a conversation with someone today, and I just was like, you know what? Honestly, I don't know what I would have done in that particular situation. Only thing I
Right.
can say is what I think I would have done. But if
Right.
you're not in those, that person's shoes,
Hmm.
you just don't know what you would do. But just
Hmm.
to hear you say you came back from Florida all the way to Nebraska with two black eyes,
Hmm.
you drove
I flew.
with a concussion, girl.
And I flew back, and I don't, like, when I tell you, I have pictures of myself just sitting there. You could tell like something is wrong. My head was like, it just wanted to explode. When I went to the eye doctor, she asked me, she said, "How did you get here? Did you drive?" I said, "No, I flew." She said, "I'm surprised you're not dead." And I just looked at her like, "Wait, what?" She was like, "Seriously, I'm surprised you're not dead." Because I showed her the pictures, and she was like, "You can see it in your face and in your eyes. Something is wrong." Because my eyes was like almost swollen shut.
Oh my gosh, Kayla.
Hmm. Yeah. But the funny thing is, that happened, what, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him. I still talk to him today. Now, will I go back to him? No, I'm not no dummy. But I still talk to him today. And you reap what you sow. And karma, that lady is something else. She is not to be played with.
At
And
all.
he is so he is so getting his karma. And it's not like I throw it in his face, but
Right.
I just, I want to see, I want you to see how I prosper from what you did to me. And I want to watch you prosper from what is transpiring in your life. So you've been after one relationship after another, after another, after another, and now your mom has passed away, and you don't know how to deal with that. And now your family has basically disowned you, and you don't know how to deal with that. So guess who's the only family that you might have? Me.
And you know what?
Mhm.
That says a whole lot about you because, uh, a lot of times when people do things to us, we like to just throw them away.
Yep.
Like, go away, especially something like that, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, you abused me for, I guess, years. You said
Well, it started like five. It was for like about 5 years.
5 years of abuse, Kayla.
hmm First, it was verbal, and then the verbal turned into physical, and then it went back to verbal. And I tell people all the time, I take the physical over the verbal,
Yeah,
because when I tell you, he brought my self-esteem so far down, and it's still down to this day, that I'm just like, mm-mm. But I like, all the marks heal away. You can't tell
right.
that, but that those words, that saying when we were young, sticks and stones will never break your bones. Oh, no, no, no.
Oh, no.
Those words will, man.
Wow. See, my sissy, I was telling you about, she just came in. She said, "You're a strong woman, queen." And
Thank you.
Sissy saying, I just was telling her about a procedure she's getting ready to have done. And I told her how good you look and how your weight done dropped off of you. So the thing is, Kayla, gosh, wait a minute. I'm trying to, Sissy, sorry about that. But let me go back to Kayla really quick. Kayla. So
hmm
that's true when they say sticks and stones. Well, no, that's not true. Sticks and stones may
Right.
break my bones, but words would never hurt me. Yes, words cut very, very deep,
hmm
very deep. And like you say, you can heal from that bruise, right? But
Right.
you, when someone that you love and love so dearly speak to you that way, it's like it's so damaging to the soul because it's,
hmm
if you say you
Yep.
love me, but then you saying these type of things to me, oh my,
That's it.
we're not gonna focus on him. We just gonna and God that you made it out. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
best part about it is that you're able to even still now today to treat him with kindness,
Of course.
And you
Of
said
course.
you want to see how he's prospering. The thing is, what I want you to focus on, I want you to focus on getting you better, right?
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
whatever transpired in his life, that's what he has to deal with, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
and then what I want you to look at is, yeah, I have this saying, you sold me, but God sent me, right?
Absolutely.
That's just like you didn't even know what you had when you had me.
hmm
Now that I'm gone, you're gonna have to respect my what? My absence. However, I'm
Absolutely.
not gonna treat you how you treated me. So you're
Right.
doing it in a godly way, which is so awesome. Because let me tell you, you're a strong woman. Because
Yeah.
I tell you what, and I can only say what I think I would do. But when he went to sleep, oh yeah, he would have been got. Mhm.
Well,
That's just, that was the old Erica. That was the old Erica.
that
But
is an off-camera conversation.
to God be the glory. You are being though you said that your son's death was basically a blessing and a curse because
Mhm.
now he lets you know, Ma, you shouldn't be indulging in that. Was there a time where when you were going through that after his passing, did he come to you and warn you?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. 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 And I tell people all the time, like, at first I was not a godly person. Did I pray? Yes. Do I know my Bible? Not fully like some people, but yes. If you say something, I'll be like, no, 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 no. That ain't how that works. Yes, But now it's like I get up and I have to say thank you,
Yeah.
because he woke me up. When I get in this car, every morning that I drive to work, it's idiots out here. And
Mhm.
it's just like I can tell when my son is in the car, because sometimes my car just moved to the next lane by itself. And it's like, wait, like, how did I get over here? And a little bit further up, bam, it was an accident. Even when I was in Florida, how I-4 is.
Mhm.
We it's so many tourists there. An accident happened. I think it was, what is those? I think it's like 5 lanes now. An
I'm
accident happened in the far right hand lane, and it shot the car over all the way across I-4. And we be driving on I-4. We
yeah.
was rolling, and I just felt my truck go, and the car said shoo, right in front of me, and I just kept on going. I was like, whoa. And then all I could say was, thank you, Keith, and kept going. I mean, it's so many things that he do for me on a daily that it's just like, okay. I said, that's my son. That's my son
Wow.
helping me every day. That's my son. And I tell the story when Thanksgiving, I seen him come. He came in.
Don't go there yet.
Don't
Don't go there yet. We're gonna go back there. That right there, that freaked me out. But I just remember you saying that he's your personal angel.
Oh, of course, all the time.
Angel. Okay, well, some of our viewers may not know the backstory about your son. Guys, I told you before, Kayla is a two-timer here at It Had to Happen, and I'm so honored to have her here again tonight. But whew, we're gonna go back to the day um, everything transpired. As much as you want to say,
Oh yeah.
the floor is definitely yours. But we're gonna talk about tonight life after death. There you go.
Let's see. Let's start August 23rd, 2018. 2:03. My life changed at that time for the worse. I received a call at 2:03 in the morning that my son had been shot. Um, he kind of told me what happened. The phone hung up. He had to turn around. My cousin had to turn around and call me back to let me know, where he was, what transpired. And
Wait,
I,
did you say your son called you and told you what happened?
my cousin,
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, I-
if he would have called me, I'd have freaked out. My cousin called and told me what transpired. Um, I found out where he was. I basically, when he told me, I screamed. So I woke my whole house up. My mom was yelling at me like, "What are you screaming for?" And I just told her, Keith has been shot. My son's name is Keith. That he had been shot. So it was just pure silence in the house. Um, I was freaking out, like I couldn't figure out what I needed to do. I had only had on a robe because I was supposed to be taking a, and I just happened to fall asleep. Um, Trying to find clothes. Knew I had clean clothes. Couldn't find any. Trying to find. I'll just kind of get in a little bit of detail. Trying to find sports bra to put on. I found one. Wasn't mine. It was my goddaughter's, and I was getting frustrated because I couldn't put it on. And I'm like, why this stupid thing won't? That's not what I said, but we're trying to keep it PG here. Couldn't figure out why it wasn't fit. Come to find out, not mine. It's my daughter. It's my excuse me, my goddaughter's. Found some pants. Found a shirt. Still didn't have on any undergarments. Finally found them and jumped in my truck. From where my house was to where my son was, it's normally like a 10-15 minute drive. I got there in 3 minutes, all at the same time, while putting on a sports bra and putting back on a shirt. If any women know how hard it is to put on a sports bra, it was so easy. It just flew on. I got there. By that time, they had transferred my son to the hospital. I'm driving to the hospital trying to see, what's going on. Couldn't find the hospital. Now, I've grown up in Omaha all of my life, and I know all the back streets, but this day, I couldn't figure out anything. Called my son's father. He wouldn't answer the phone. Now I'm really frustrated because I've called this man probably like 20 times from the time where the scene happened to the hospital. He didn't answer. Now I'm really frustrated. He finally calls me back, and I am cussing him out. Like, why did you not answer the phone when I called you the first time? He's like, what is wrong? And so I finally calmed down and I told him, I said, I have something to tell you. And he was like, what is it? Now, he's a truck driver. He's driving on the road. And I'm about to tell him that it's my oldest son, his youngest son, has just been shot. And he's like, what is it? And I was like, are you driving or are you parked? He was like, I'm driving. And I'm like, well, just call me back when you park. He was like, no, you didn't already said something. Tell me. So I tell him. And again, pure silence, pure silence. And he was like, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to get to the hospital. I said, I see it, but I can't get to it. So he was like, calm down. And I'm like, no, I've got to get to my son. And he was like, you can't get to your son in the condition that you're in. So I had to calm down and I had to look. And he was like, can you see the streets? I was like, yes, I see the streets. So I get there, I get to the street that I need to get on. Because of the nature of the incident, they had police security in the emergency room. So I get to the officer. I tell him, I said, I believe that's my son that they just brought in by squad. And they let me go through. I show my ID. They let me go through. I get to the valet and I tell him, I said, I think that's my son. So I jumped out of my vehicle. My vehicle had not been put in park. My vehicle started rolling. The valet guy had to jump into my car and put my car in park. I left my wallet because you need ID when you go into the emergency room, especially of that nature. I left that. I had one shoe on, one arm into my shirt. So I'm pretty much kind of exposed. I didn't even care. Come to find out, the security guard had to let me know. He said, ma'am. And I was like, now I'm frustrated. Like, what do you want? He was like, your leggings are split. So now I'm really exposed. I have one arm in my shirt. So now you can see one side of me and my sports bra. Now my leggings are split from my knees all the way up to almost to my private area. So I'm like, oh my God. But at that time, I didn't care. I needed to get to my son. By this time, people are coming in. It's a emergency room full of people. Finally, after about an hour and a half, a doctor comes down. She lets me know, your son's been shot. He's been shot in the head on the left-hand side. She explains everything to me. She said when he came in, he was talking, he was moving. She was like, we're not exactly sure what happened. They put the first stitch into the back of his head, perfectly fine. They went to go put the second stitch. They're not sure if the bullets moved or if they moved it. But my son, after that, was, there was no more function going on. So he was considered brain dead. Detectives are there asking me questions. I have no idea what had happened, what had transpired, not until, hours and hours later as to what really happened and, how my son got shot. A few hours later, I go upstairs. A detective takes me upstairs. Now she's talking to me for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, lady, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care what you're talking about. She was like, well, your son had, THC in his system. I said, and she was like, well, he had some in his pocket. And I'm like, and I don't care about any of that. I'm like, lady, where is my child? So she was like, well, we're still identifying him. And I'm like, I can identify him for you. And I just ran down every inch of that boy's body. If you're a mother and you know your children, I know my children. From every tattoo that he has on his body, to every scar he has, to every mark, to every freckle, to his hair color, I knew it all. To how long I knew his toenails were. I told her everything. And she just looked at me like, well, yeah, I think that's your son. So she takes me back there. Right as I turned the corner to go to his room, he coded. And so I see I'm 5'5", so this nurse had to be maybe 4'10". My son is like 6'1". I see her jump up on top of the bed, and to see someone do compressions on your child, it that I hit the floor. I hit the floor, and I'm like, I can't. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't do it. So I just yelled out, I want to donate his organs. So there happened to be a lady that was from Livermore, Nebraska, and she told me, if that's what you want to do, what they're doing right now, they need to do that. So I'm like, okay. So that he comes back, and I'm yelling, fight, Keith, fight, fight, fight. So he comes back. The minute she takes one leg and it hits the ground, he codes again. Instantly, hit the floor again. So I'm like, baby, you gotta fight. I was like, you've got to fight. I'm like, I am here, but you gotta fight. So he fights and he comes back. The hardest thing that I ever had to do besides tell his father is tell my grandmother. And my grandmother came there, and I made everyone leave out of the room. It was just her and him. I don't know what she said to him, but his vitals stabilized and stayed the same for 3 days until we found matches for everything. And they kept telling me he's not going to make it through the night. That boy made it for 3 days and probably still would have kept fighting. But whatever, my grandmother is the most God-fearing woman that I know. One of the most God-fearing women that I know.
Jesus.
She, whatever she said to him, because when I tell you I made everybody leave, because that was her boy. That was her, she helped me raise him.
Right.
She helped me raise him. So it was like, whatever privacy she needs, she got it. Whatever she wanted, she had it. And oh man, I don't even know what to say. But towards the end, she put praying hands on him, and it was just amazing. It was amazing. I could just feel everything from my son when I told him to open his eyes. A little graphic. So the bullet was lodged into the left part of his head, which it rested behind his left eye. So he only had one good eye, which was his right eye, and he could open and shut it. And I told him to open it. He didn't open it right away, but he opened it. So even though they said he was considered clinically brain dead, I said my baby was there. But the person that I am, I didn't want him to suffer. So I said, you know what? I'm going to have to let him go, because it'll be selfish of me to have my boy as a vegetable. That would be selfish of me, because I didn't want him to be a vegetable. I wanted him to give somebody else some type of quality of life. And then that way I knew he was living on through somebody else. That's why I love the program that I went through when I decided to donate his organs, because it's called Live On Nebraska, Live On Florida. It's all over the United States. So it was nothing else but God and him telling me, let me go, Mom. Let me be somebody else now. And that's what I had to do. I had to let him go. I had to let him go.
Whoa, Kayla. Whoa.
I wear him every day. He's with me I don't know if they can see him, but he's with me every day. He's in my car. He's everywhere. He's on my phone. He's on my kid's phone. He's on my plates. I have it's called Donate Life.
Mm-hmm.
They have prestige plates or personalized plates. I bought them. I didn't care how much they cost. I bought them. And he's everywhere. He's on my wrist. If you see the green,
Yeah.
he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Anytime I do something for Donate Life / Live on Nebraska, they print out special cards just for me with my son on it.
Oh my God. First of all, I said it before, but my deepest condolences.
Thank you.
Um, mm, but just to see you, I mean, you literally took my breath away when you say you fell to the floor when they was doing the first chest compressions. Couldn't even fathom. Um, Jesus. But you know, when they say it's nothing like a praying mother, it's nothing like a praying grandmother. Because as we
Man.
all know, some of us are still here because of our grandmothers that
Hmm.
said those prayers. But to
Hmm.
know, and you, you say you yelled out, you want to donate his organs, and I think I told you this before, about how they have you to put it on your license, right?
Hmm.
And my oldest son actually had it on his license, but I made him take it off because I thought, and this my thoughts, um, that if something, God forbid, something were to happen, they wouldn't give you the chance if somebody else was in dire need of whatever organ that one could give. So that kind of like had me a little shook up a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
but just to know that you yelled out and let them know that you wanted to donate his organs. So you're saying that they had to resuscitate him in order to save those organs, correct?
Yep, because they had to find matches. So, within 3 days, they found matches. They found 5 people that matched him
In 3 days?
in 3 days.
Holy cow. Okay. So during this 3-day period, how do they test the organs to know if the organs are still good, or if something had been damaged during the time when he coded?
He went through test after test. For like his kidneys, they put him on dialysis since his heart was still beating by itself, but to make sure that it stayed beating strong, they put him on a breathing machine just to make sure that the oxygen and whatever medicine that he needed just went through his body. So he was on a kidney machine, he was on a breathing machine, he was on all kind of heart machines. All When I tell you that whole room was full of machines and IVs, oh man, like I did a Facebook live about it, and my Facebook page is Kayla Brown. If you want to go on my Facebook page. Now, one of the Facebook lives, I will tell you, if you go watch it, it's about an hour long. And I'm you have to be strong because
I
I'm
don't.
crying.
Yeah,
Not everybody can watch it,
yeah.
but for a whole almost 2 hours, I had over 1,000 people just sitting there watching me as I transpire. I went from crying to laughing, back to crying, and then I have family come in, and you see the family come in, and they was like, "Get off." And they was like, "We got stuff to do." So they started making me laugh. So I'm laughing again. And, I have family trying to figure out where I am and just trying to, make me keep going. And that's how I've been since that day, is like I just keep going. But it's a process. And I said it all this is something I never ever want any parent to have to go through. But people are going through it every day.
Yeah,
Every day.
yeah. So, oh Jesus. And this is not like this is my first time hearing this, because I heard this before, but it's just, oh God.
It's still a lot to take in,
It
because people are trying to figure out, how are you still able to talk about it and not break down? How are you still able to do this and just look, perfectly fine? I said, it's a persona. I said, I've been putting on a persona for 5 years where on the outside, I am fabulous. But on
really,
the inside, I am all tore up. But again, I have 2 other kids. So I have to keep going. even though they're grown, or almost, well, one is grown and one is, a high school or a junior in high school,
Yeah.
I have to keep going. Like, it took me a lot with my youngest, because when I tell you, it happened literally 10 days after his birthday, and they had just got into school. When I tell you, both of them, they were done with school. When this happened, my 23-year-old, it was his senior year. He was like, I'm done. I'm not going to school, because his brother went with him to help him get back into school. And he told him, don't be like me. He was like, get your high school diploma. Don't be like me. So they went to school together and helped sign my son up, my 23-year-old Keyshawn, for classes. He talked to Patrick, which is my 16-year-old, told him, don't be like me. Be better than me.
Yeah.
Make mom proud. Walk the stage. Do everything that mom will always wanted us to do. I wanted them to experience prom and homecoming and football games and basketball, everything that, high schoolers experience. I wanted them to experience all that. My 16-year-old wasn't having it. He said, I will never step foot in another school. And for a while, he did not step foot in another school. And it ended up happening to where something made him sick. So now he has a situation, it's called IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now it keeps him from going to school. So now he gets homeschooled, because he stresses about school. He still, 5 years later, he still stresses about his brother. He said, Mom, I feel him. I see
Ooh.
him. I smell him. And I'm like, everybody thought I was going to go through it. I said, nobody thought about what my boys was going through. Because it wasn't like, even though they're I think they're 5 and 11 years apart, they're going through it just as much as I'm going through it, because they were all close.
Just
They all looked alike.
But not just that, Kayla, just to see their mom going through, you know.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
like a double whammy. My brother's,
Oh yeah.
then I really don't know how. I see the hurt in mom, because one thing about it is our kids know us. We could try to
Oh
hide
yeah.
the hurt all we want to. Our kids know us. You
Oh
know.
yeah.
Woo.
It's only one thing I was able to hide from them. One thing, and I don't know how I did it, but I was able to do it. Um, Maybe a week or so after. So I cremated my son. I didn't want him in the ground, because I felt like I didn't want to be in Nebraska anymore. So wherever I went, Keith was coming with me. And that's exactly what he did. So after the funeral, we had the funeral. They cremated him a few days later, put him in his urn. And when I came back to Florida, my son, my youngest son, put him in the front seat
And
in
it's,
his urn, in the seatbelt.
mhm.
So we drove 1,500 miles with my child in the front seat, in the seatbelt.
Woo. Let me
Hmm.
tell you. I know people probably like, how are they laughing during a time like this? But you kind of have to. Kayla,
Hmm.
no ma'am. That wasn't the first time you did that, though.
No, I did it when I came back here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. And then when
Oh,
I turned around and went back to Florida, I forgot him.
what?
I forgot him here in Nebraska. And I'm driving. I'm in St. Louis, and I'm like, and my son's like, "What, Mom?" I said, "We forgot Keith." And my son was like, "Mom, you're such a bad mom." And I called my son. I said, "Where's Keith?" And my 23-year-old said, "In the closet." And I'm like, "In the closet?" I was like, "Get my son out the closet." So he was actually, my son has a dresser inside of his closet. So he was sitting on top of his dresser. But I didn't go back to my mom's house. So I left him in the closet. But
Let me tell y'all something. We're laughing now, and I
we
know she
weren't laughing then.
too, because you guys haven't even heard the half of it. Now she travels with her son.
he has to experience everything that I'm experiencing. Even though he is my angel and he sees it, for me, that is the physical for him to be here with me. Now, I don't travel with the big one. I do have small ones that, I can put in like my cup holder, or I put it in my purse, or wherever, or it's in my luggage. But he comes with me.
That was going to be my next question, because God forbid something were to ever happen, you have him all in one place. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
Jesus. But listen, y'all, we're talking about life after death. She's not only an advocate for gun violence, but she's also an advocate for organ donation. She started, I think last time when she was here, she was actually at her event live that day, for one of the events that she put on. And I think that was your very first event, right,
that was
Kayla?
my very first one. I was so scared, so scared.
I had to talk her through it, you guys. The thing is, you when you began to, before we jump into the organ donation part, we talked about him already riding with you.
Right.
He did say he's everywhere you go. So you can have the honors of telling them about Thanksgiving.
So I moved back to Florida. I didn't want to be there. I moved back in like September, and I just I just needed to be back in Florida. So, a few months later, it's Thanksgiving. Um, it's COVID, and we're really not trying to be in too many people's faces. So where we were supposed to go for dinner, they were a little bit leery about us going. So I had to scramble and get stuff for Thanksgiving dinner because I wasn't supposed to be cooking at home. I got things. I'm cutting up sweet potatoes. I hear a noise at my front door, and I have like a little bell on the door. So I'm hearing that move around. And I'm like, what the heck? So I have a huge knife in my hand, and I look down the stairs because I lived in a 3-story townhouse. So I'm looking down the stairs, and it looks right at the front door. I didn't see anything. So I called my significant other at the time, and I said, "Hey, are you home?" And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay." And he was like, "Why?" I said, "Because I hear something, rattling with the front door." And he was like, "Well, go check." So I could go in my son's room and look out the window and see the front door. Nobody out there. So I hear this. I go back in the kitchen, go back again. And I'm like, what the heck is that noise? So I just happened to look up, and my son came up the stairs, walked, and it was like right as you go straight up the stairs, it's like my coffee table and then my couch. He walked and he sat down, and I looked up and I was like, "Oh, hey, Keith," and kept, cutting up sweet potatoes. And then I looked down and I looked back up, and it was like just a little bit of puff of smoke, and it just went away. And I was like, "Oh, he's just checking on me." And I just kept on cutting.
I said, that sweet that potato would have been left. You hear me? Oh my gosh, it would have been left. But wait, I only experienced that one time when I was younger with my father. He actually came to my grandmother's, and I actually saw him sitting in his white suit that he used to love to wear, and he had his sitting in what they say, crisscross applesauce, Indian style. He was sitting at the table, he was eating. And I saw him plain as day. So to hear you saw him coming up the stairs and you stood there.
I just stood there. I looked. I was like, because it was like I can't get scared, because I was like, is my mind playing tricks on me? Because again, I said there was things that I hid from my kids that nobody knew, So it was like, oh well, when I was in Omaha, I was drinking. I was drinking heavily. And I was working. I was the vault teller. So I was in charge of large sums of money. They
Right.
didn't even know. I would be at work. When I tell you I was white girl wasted, I was white girl wasted
And
and
why?
nobody knew at
And why?
work. And nobody knew until I said something. They didn't even know.
Was this
Then,
after your son's death?
yep, they didn't even know. And then I stopped drinking because I'm not a huge drinker. I'm not a drinker. So then I picked up popping pills. Because remember, this is the same year that I broke my ankle, just a few months later. So now I still have leftover pills. So now I'm popping pills. And I wanted to do everything that I knew my son did. So I knew my son smoked. Remember I said earlier, they kept telling me your son had a lot of THC in the system.
Right.
So I picked that up. So imagine trying to pop pills, which is a downer, and smoke, which is another downer. So when I tell you, I, you would think I would be laid out somewhere. I was just everywhere, just zipping around everywhere. Like I had so much energy, but that wasn't
Wait,
good for me.
you had energy? Wait, if it's a
Hmm.
downer, how did it give you energy?
I think just my adrenaline, just what my adrenaline was still going after, and this has been a few months now. This has been a few months. So
Just
what? September,
adrenaline.
October, November, December, like 2 months, 2.5, 3 months.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, Kayla. But
But
God,
when I stopped, yep. But when I stopped, when I tell you I crashed, I crashed. I hit hard.
what was like, okay, we talked about him coming up those stairs and sitting on that couch. Was that a time where he was coming, you think, to kind of, because they say that they do come to warn you.
Hmm.
So would you say that was a time where he was coming to warn you about something?
Yeah, he was, like they know I don't do those things. They know I hate taking medicine. I hate, and that's why I had so many drugs left after my surgery from me breaking my ankle
Hmm.
because I hated, like I suffered. I made myself suffer because I was afraid that I would get addicted because I was taking oxycodone.
Cool.
I was taking oxy, so I didn't want to get addicted to them. So I would, maybe take one or two or break it in half and take it and then just put them to the side and or put them in a drawer because I didn't, or give them to my mom. Whatever I chose to do at that time, that's what I did. But then it was like after he died, that pain started coming back because it was like I'm on my feet constantly trying to plan a funeral, trying to plan a repast, trying to get myself together, still trying to work. And I'm standing on my feet, you know, 8 to 10 hours a day. So, my ankle's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I started, you know, before I left, I started popping pills again. I started popping those pills. But once I got to Florida, you know, I didn't have my support system, as far as in the physical. I had them over the phone, but as far as in my face, I didn't have anybody. So those pills and that marijuana was my support. And that is one thing, when I tell you that was one thing I hid from them. And my 16-year-old, he is constantly in my face. Like
Wow.
you would think he was a little baby. And that boy is 6'3". He was constantly in my face all the time. And no one ever knew.
So you can say you was basically a functional
Hmm.
addict
Yep.
that time.
At that
See,
time.
and and you also said too, like you would be at work and you would be like white girl wasted, right?
Hmm.
This is what I tell people, like you never know what somebody is going through.
Hmm.
And like you said earlier too, in the early part of the broadcast, you said that on the outside you're fabulous, but in the
Hmm.
inside you're dying. But no, you're not dying. You're
Right. Right.
actually, you're living.
Right.
And I want you to change that word. You're not dying. You may be hurting, but you're not dying. And
Hmm.
the thing is, Kayla, you have something that you're trying to do. So the enemy is going to try to, make you think that, like you said, use the word dying in the inside.
Hmm.
And you have people that's walking around that's like that. That's
Right.
look good on the inside, but I mean on the outside, but what do your insides look like? You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And that's just like being kind and being ugly. You could be the beautiful person in the world, but your heart could be ugly, you know?
Yes.
But here it is. Now you're dealing with, now you have to deal with popping pills. You have to deal with smoking the weed. Were you still drinking at the time as well?
Yep.
So what would you say was like, okay, this I have to stop? What was your breaking point at?
It was costing too much money. It was costing way too much money. Way too much money.
Wow.
Like literally, I have so many of these cups, just like this cup,
With
and with liquor in it. Yeah, I had so many of these cups with liquor. I have so many cups that they just had liquor in them. But the thing was like I drew, you know, so my drink of choice at that time was wine with Ciroc and Kool-Aid. So if you smelt it, yeah, if you smelt it, the thing was if you smelt it, you smelt the Kool-Aid. You didn't smell the wine or the Ciroc, you smelt the Kool-Aid. So
oh,
nobody, that's how I was able to get away with it because they thought I was just, everybody knew at my job I love Kool-Aid, especially cherry or fruit punch Kool-Aid. So
wow.
that's what they thought it was. Because if I had a clear straw, all you seen was red. So they thought it was Kool-Aid.
So you mean to tell me like your speech never slurred, you never stumbled. You have a high tolerance.
If I stumble, they just took it as my ankle. Because remember, my ankle.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
But
Let me tell you
speech
something.
wise, I didn't have to really talk to a lot of people. I could say good morning or how can I help you, and that was it. I did your transaction. I was done. So talking, I didn't really have to talk.
Did you ever make a mistake with someone's money?
Never.
Wow. So would you say when you were using, like by the time, you know, just like they say, when you start smoking weed, you want a different high and a different high, right? So would you say when you were coming down and if you felt like you were thinking about your son too much or you were thinking about the situation too much, how were you like when you were doing like smoking the weed, was this a all day thing when you feel like you're coming down, you want to go back up?
I had to constantly keep doing it because with my son's case, it was going so fast. So, like I said, he was shot August 23rd. Um, by August 27th, we found matches. August 29th, we had already arrested 2 people. September 1st, I buried him. September 7th, we caught the main shooter. So everything was just like bam, bam, bam. October, now we're doing preliminaries, so we're just going and going and going and going and going. By May, we're done. So
Wow.
it was just like from all that time, I didn't have time to let myself come down or to really think because I just had to keep going and keep going and keep going. But when the dust settled and I finally, I started tapering away from everything, that's when it started to hit me. But then I couldn't let it hit me because my pride, I'm one of those people, my word is everything. So if I'm telling you I'm going to do something, I got to do it. So I
Right.
wouldn't let myself, you know, get down. I can honestly say getting COVID and moving back to Nebraska is when I started grieving, which I've been back in Nebraska a year and a half now, almost 2 years. And that I've just started grieving. Just started grieving.
Hmm. Mm. So 2018, COVID hit what? I believe COVID hit 2019, but they say 2020. Okay, so
I
20,
think
you think so too, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that too. But okay, so 2018, your son passed away. 2020, COVID took effect.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you move back to Nebraska?
Like, so I found out I had COVID the day of. So August 23rd, which was at that time, was it 2021? Yeah, 2021 is when I
Okay.
found out. August 23rd, which is the day that my son was killed. I found out on that day that I had COVID. I moved back the 30. Well, I'll just say I started driving on the 30th
What year was
because
that?
was it 20,
Like 20,
23, like 21,
yeah, 2021. I
20,
believe it was 2021.
21,
Okay.
21. Yep.
So 5 years later, so would you say your grieving now is taking place because you're back in the area where everything happened?
I'm back in the area. I live in a house that he lived in. Um, my son sleeps in the room that he slept in. Well, I'm actually in the process of remodeling it. So, it's a lot of stuff that we trying to leave but take away. So we're trying to, just kind of revamp the room. But when I came back here at the beginning, yeah, it hit me hard. It hit me hard because it was like I constantly wanted to go to the area where he was killed, and I couldn't because it wasn't safe. Because
Right.
by this time, people now they know who I am. You know, at the time I got a new car, so now they know my car. Because I was when I first got my car, I stayed in that area. I didn't even care. Like it didn't bother me. But then after a while, I was like, oh shoot, maybe I shouldn't be here. So I used to cry, but I wouldn't cry in front of my family. I would get in my car and drive, and I would just cry. So Lincoln, or excuse me, I would drive to Lincoln, which is about a 45-minute hour, which is the capital of Nebraska, or I drive to Kansas City, which is about 2 hours from Nebraska. So I would, just drive for 2 hours, just crying and crying and crying. And I said, you know what? It gotta stop. I said, this is not what he wants from me. This is not what he wants. And I just had to pick myself up and just keep going. And that's what I'm trying to do today. It's slow motion, but I said, you know what? I can only do what I can do at my pace, not someone else's pace. This was
Exactly.
my child. You know,
Exactly. And people can't tell you how long to grieve or how to grieve. You
right.
know, it just can't. And losing
Hmm.
a loved one, I mean, a child at that, that I just met someone who lost her son. He had a heart attack. Young
Hmm.
fella, 31, 32 years old, somewhere up in there. And it's just when I hear of these things, I have two sons. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I was telling you in the green room, now I have two grandsons. And it's just, you can't tell a person. Like my father been passed away 40 something years. And the
Hmm.
thing is, it still hurts.
Yep.
It still hurts, but you just learn how to deal with it because what you said, they wouldn't want to see you like that.
Yep.
Sometimes I often wonder, like, I wish he would have got a chance to meet my grandkids. I mean, his grandkids. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
let me get off of me. Let's talk about he left a beautiful princess.
Oh my gosh, that is his twin. That girl. And the sad thing about it is, I haven't seen her in 2 years, but she is beautiful. She is a splitting image of him, but I haven't seen her in 2 years.
Is she in
Mm-mm.
Nebraska?
She's in Florida.
Oh, she's in Florida.
Hmm.
Oh,
But they
have
send me pictures.
and you
I see
talked to her?
pictures. Haven't talked to her. They just send me pictures. They've talked to my sister. They FaceTime with my sister, but I haven't been able to talk to her. Which I said, you know what? That's okay. That is okay. Because in the end, she will, if it's her mom that's, keeping her away from me, she's 11. She will be able to, she's old enough to say, okay, I want to talk to my grandmother or, my nana. you know. But I just have to, let that, prosper and go from there. If I have to let her go for a little while, hey, that's what I just have to do, in order for, as they say for a good comeback, because once she comes back, I'm not letting her go again. That's all I have of my son. Besides all my, I have memories of my son, and those are awesome. But that little girl is his twin. She's my twin because my kids look just like me, but she is a split image of him. She's going to be tall like him. She's going to be slender like him. She wears her glasses like him. She's goofy like him. She is him. But
you hit a sore spot because I don't play when it come to kids. That's
yep.
All I can say
And
is
I don't know if she's upset because we weren't able to, get her some type of social security benefits. But like I explained to her, if you keep her around, she is my first grandchild.
let me tell you this, Kayla. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to even speak about her. We're just
Right.
going to lift her up in prayer and hope that she can come around and allow you, because don't look at her, look at who she's being used by, which is the enemy. The enemy loves to use people, and he know who to use and how to get to us, but we just can't stay. We see the problem, what you think the problem is, but just pray on it and hope that God changes things where you can be a part of your granddaughter's life. That's a sore subject for me, because when it comes to children, I don't understand why one do it. But again, we won't stay stuck there. We know that he left a beautiful princess here. And when she gets older, maybe sooner, God will work that thing out where you both could be in contact with one another. Because guess what?
Absolutely.
Now kids have cell phones at 6 years old. But you're getting pictures. You're getting pictures. So next is going to be a phone call, and maybe you'll get these times, and soon you'll get the visits. We're going to speak that thing into existence, because the enemy will not have his way at all. See, that's another area he's trying to attack you in. Your son is gone now, and now you have someone that's of him, and I can't see them, but you got the pictures, so it's coming. It's definitely coming. So that's another area that I would definitely lift you up in prayer on. I didn't know that, but I'm glad that you mentioned it. And we kind of spirit work, because I all of a sudden say his princess that he left here. Hey, that's why I say, God, do a thing, Caleb. And that's probably something that you probably wouldn't have mentioned. However, now I know what to go and attack, when I go to the throne of grace for you, because at the end of the day, these children, they're innocent. They're innocent. I don't care how mad don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at Bella and keep my grandkids away from me. And don't get mad at dada or mama, whoever get the kids, and don't allow kids to see their other family, And again, it's easier for us to say, we don't know what we would do in the situation. However, it's going to be a change. It's
absolutely
be a change. You see how God worked that thing out with your significant other? It seemed bad, but God was working it out for your good. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to turn around. That's one thing about it. It's round, and the table is round, so it definitely has to turn. And it's
I always say, even with that situation, I said, God will let you bump your head.
Oh yeah.
And he'll let you bump your head hard.
Oh yeah.
Until you say, okay, help me. All you got to do is call him, and he gonna move stuff out your way so you can go forward instead of making that left turn or that right turn, because that's where he wants you to go. It's straight. And that's exactly what he did. He was like, I'm gonna let her keep bumping her head until she call on me.
Yeah. I was getting ready to say that. He'll allow you to Listen, he'll try to warn you. And then if
Mhm.
you say that I'm big and bad, I'm going to go ahead and do this thing on my own. He'll say, okay, go
Mhm.
right on ahead, daughter.
Mhm.
Go right on ahead. You think you know
Mhm.
it all. And like you say, he'll let you bump your head. But the thing about it, he won't let you bust it open.
Yeah.
That's the God that we serve. He'll let you
Yeah,
get a little
absolutely.
bruise. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
think you bad. I'll let you get a little bruise, but I ain't gonna let you bust that thing open where you can't come back. Because I know
And I
what
think.
I have for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I know what I got for you, but I need you to
Mhm.
know what I got for you. I need you
Mhm.
to get in line so you can know what I have for you. You
Absolutely.
can receive what I have for you. So that's
Absolutely.
something now. Don't you get me to shouting up in here, guys. We're talking about life after death. And I have Miss
Mhm.
Kayla Brown, which is a two-timer here with us on tonight. Her son was murdered back in 2018. She became an advocate for gun violence and organ donation. And
Mhm.
she told us all about how he always protecting her. But I tell you what, if y'all wasn't here earlier, when she said he came up those stairs, I don't know. But the thing is, Kayla, is so good to see that you're I could say I won't not maintaining, let me use that word. Not
Mhm.
just maintaining, but allowing him to live through what you're doing. Advocate for gun violence and an advocate for organ donation. Because look at me, what I told you earlier. I
Mhm.
I thought maybe they know you're an organ donor. Then hey, it is what it is. Like that God forbid
Mhm.
something were to happen. But you're doing this thing, and you're doing it for Keith. You have him around your neck. Listen, guys,
Mhm.
she travel with him. And I mean, she used to have him in her seatbelt and everything. But Kayla, let me tell you something. You, like my sister, you are a strong individual. And again, do not allow anybody to tell you how long or how to grieve. You
Yeah.
have to do it and heal in your own time, as well as
Absolutely.
your kids. So I know one of the things that, a couple of the things that I will be lifting you up for is that situation with your granddaughter and,
Mhm.
to heal.
Absolutely.
And to
Absolutely.
be because I'm telling you, what you told me in the green room, when that, what, gets snatched,
Man.
that confidence coming back. He's gonna be looking like he's gonna be stalking there. I'm telling you, but you know what? Again, Kayla, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be here on tonight. You're more than welcome to come back again at any given. Maybe
Absolutely.
we'll do after. You know what we
There
talked about
you go.
in the room.
There you go.
So if you had someone that was under the sound of your voice that may have dealt with losing someone to gun violence or just losing a loved one, or even being an organ donor, you could speak to them from both aspects really quick.
Absolutely. And like, was it last weekend? I did live on Nebraska health fair, and I talked about it. This coming weekend, I'll do another one. Another health fair, and I talk about it. And again, I just bring a lot of things that have something to do with my son, as far as like his picture, or I do the bracelets that I have on my arm. I have chapstick that says "Live on Nebraska," and it says his name on it. Um, this organization is also in Florida. It's also in Georgia. Um, it's nationwide. It's in at least 25 states. They help you so much. It's a extended family that I have. Like I said, it's been almost 5 years, and these people are still in my lives. And the crazy thing is, when you become an organ donor, people thought it was like more black market, and it's not. They give you the opportunity. They asked me, did I know anyone in my family that needed anything? a kidney, a heart, whatever. And at that time, I didn't know. I didn't know anyone. It was a few months later that someone needed something, and I'm like, man, what an honor would it have been of mine to give it to you, because even though you're not my blood family, we are family. And so they give you that opportunity. They ask you that before they start finding donors. They ask you, is there anybody in your family? And it's nothing like the black market. No, a lot of people don't want to talk to you once, those organs are transpired. But just know that your loved one is living on. And yes, they'll send letters. Um, I've met one. I've met one young lady. She has my son's kidney.
Now that's what I want to ask you really quick because, guys, she's an advocate for organ donation, and her son donated how many organs, and what was the organs that he donated?
He donated his heart, his kidneys, his liver, his lung, and his right eye, and plus all the your platelets and your blood. And they did some in certain areas because he had tattoos. They're not really supposed to do skin grafts, but he was able to donate some of his skin in the areas that he didn't have tattoos.
Are you serious?
Hmm. But my son, he was like, so it wasn't too many places that he could he could donate. So they took a lot of from like the back of his legs and his bottom, but like his whole chest was full of tattoos. His arms and his neck, both sides of his neck, was full of tattoos.
So you met the young lady who received the kidneys.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yep.
How was that, Kayla?
Let's just say I hit the floor.
Was
And
she a
she has a yeah, she was able to have a baby. And when I didn't really hit the floor, I just kind of sat down on the floor because I instantly, when I seen her across the room, and I instantly knew who she was just from the picture. I instantly, like, I could feel her, so I instantly knew who she was. I knew she was in the room because, like I said, never met the lady, never talked to her, just by letters and a picture. I could feel her energy in the room. So I'm looking, and one of the ladies from Livermore, Nebraska, she was like, "What are you looking for?" And I'm not gonna say her name. I was like, "She's in the
No.
room," and she was like, "How do you know?" I said, "I feel her," and bam, there she was, and we made eye contact, and I just sat down on the floor, and her beautiful, beautiful baby girl just sat right in my lap,
Oh
and
my,
I was just like, "Oh,"
oh my
and her
God.
family, her family. So let's just say, it's a lot of craziness that goes on in the world. Her family was not, it was not, let's just say they just didn't like black people. I'm going to just put it out there. They didn't like black people. They did not like black people at all. So they didn't know what I looked like. I knew what she looked like. They didn't know what I looked like, or Keith.
You know what? They
So,
me to a story in the Bible before you go on. You say they didn't like black people, but they use a black person's heart for their. Well, they didn't. A black person end up saving their daughter's life. And in the
mhm,
Bible, it talks about this guy who was bitten by a serpent, right?
mhm,
And he in Moab, and here it is. Nobody wanted to help him. Now he
yep,
just been bitten by a snake, and nobody
mhm,
didn't want to help him. But the same hand that was bitten, Kayla, was used to heal some of the very people that didn't
mhm,
want to help.
yep,
So this here needs to shed light to someone. You just
mhm.
should not matter. But I just had to go ahead.
So once they figured out that, oh, she is, she's the mother of the kidney donor.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you, that lady was on the floor with me, her mother was on the floor with me crying, and she was like, "I love you, I love you, I love you." She was like, "I can't thank you enough for saving my daughter." I said, "I didn't do it." I said,
Mm,
"He did it." I said, "I
Jesus.
had nothing to do with it." I said, "He did it." And she was like, and she told me, she pulled me aside and she told me the story. And she was like, She said, I don't see color anymore. She said, because you didn't see color. I was
Did
like,
not say God will work it out for your good?
mm-hmm,
And you said
mm-hmm,
earlier about he'll let you bump your head. So,
mm-hmm.
and the thing is, we don't know what transpired in those people's lives to make them that way, or
Exactly.
it was trained that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I think sometimes people are trained to hate because their parents may hate, but at the same
Mm-hmm,
time too, we don't know what transpired in their life before, but we should just focus on, listen, God did his thing. He was going to get the glory. He was going to
mm-hmm,
get the glory. So now, not only did you save their daughter's life, you saved their lives, because
mm-hmm.
you can't get into heaven hating.
Nope,
You
not at
cannot.
all.
So you did. Oh, hallelujah, Jesus. This I know. So if she was, and then she told you, you know what I'm saying, the story, and
Mm-hmm,
then had to let you know, but I don't hate black people anymore.
mm-mm.
I don't see color anymore. Some folk will be pissed, but how could you when God had his way?
I think the dad was for a little while, but I just had to tell him. I said, "Listen, at the end of the day, I said you got two beautiful people that you can
Yes.
still love on." I said, "I don't have my son." I said, "But my son gave your daughter life." I
Wait,
said, "It doesn't matter."
you say dad was still upset after he found out?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because they thought it was going to be, because it became a little, it started getting a little bit loud. And so the party kind of stopped. And, now the attention is focused on us. And, I had to reincarnate that attention, because, even though it's focused on us, I said, you know what, again, I got to make a negative into a positive.
that's right. That's right.
And I couldn't allow, because when you don't like me for no reason, just because the color of my skin, that makes me upset, because you don't know me.
Right.
You don't know what type of person I am. If
Mhm.
I see you on the side of the road, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna stop and help you. You might do something to me. I don't know, but I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
But like I explained to him, I said my son saved your daughter, which
Yeah.
now your daughter gave you a grandchild.
Hmm. Life after death.
Hmm.
Mm.
I mean, there's so much stuff that has transpired that I've done that I probably thought I would never do. I got a reading, and that reading, when I tell you it scared me, it scared me.
Well, I tell
It
you what,
scared me.
you better not go get no another reading
No, no. I said,
at
mm-mm.
all.
It scared it like
And you
it
know what?
scared me.
I'm glad that it did, because you shouldn't have been there getting no reading. Don't play with that stuff. You open yourself up to so much.
Hmm.
So I'm glad it scared you, so you know not to go back.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I was like, yep, nope. Mm-mm.
Okay, thank you, Jesus. But here it is. Now you have the mother that, God has changed her, which
Yep,
probably caused some problems in her home because that's her husband, right? But she
exactly.
knew that, hey, my daughter's still here. We have a
Hmm.
beautiful granddaughter, you know,
Hmm.
and it took, when you're in that hospital and your life is on the line, you're not going to be worried about color. Would
Nope.
he have told them if he knew that it was coming from a black donor? Would he have told them, no, I don't want that?
Mm-mm.
So this is why it's so important for us to get rid of that racism, but just because of the color
Hmm.
of someone's skin. It
Hmm.
baffles me, something we probably would never understand,
Nope.
but here it is. God still, he worked it out for good. You have
Absolutely.
a life, a life is gone, and your son is still able to live, not through just one person, Kayla. Five. You gave a heart, you gave a kidney, an eye, what was it, a lung?
lungs.
And
Yep.
what was the other? And heart.
Heart, heart, kidney, lungs, heart, kidney, lungs, heart, pancreas. Yeah, heart, kidney, lungs. So, you have two lungs. So his left and his right. So I just count those as one. So yeah, his heart, his kidneys, his lungs, um,
I.
his pancreas, eye, and his eye. Yeah. Pancreas and eye.
Wow. We definitely have to
But
bring you back on because I'm telling you, like, this here needs to go across the nation,
absolutely.
especially when at a time like this when there's so much racism going on. Because if you're in a dire situation, I will hope that you're not worried about what color the person is that you're getting this whatever it is you're in need of.
We
And then,
don't know. So
go ahead.
we are, as far as Black and brown people, African Americans, Black people, whatever we self-identify with, we are the low man on a totem pole when it comes to organ donation. We are the low man on a totem pole, and that's why I'm still with this program, because the lady that I help and advocate with, she is of Spanish descent. So she's part of the Black and brown.
Okay.
So in her community also, but they, as always, Spanish, Black. We're still the low man on the totem pole, because again, a lot of us, Black people grew up in the church saying that we need to go whole. And that's a lot of beliefs of a lot of people. And I try to explain to people, do you understand? Yeah, you're gonna go whole, but you ain't gonna have them body parts in you. They're gonna take that stuff out.
And let me tell you, you definitely have to come back because I watched, not I watched, I remember when a couple of months ago, it was a funeral home. They were stealing people body parts without the people even knowing. It was a mother and a daughter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, champ, I love you too. Alan just joined us.
Hey,
Um,
Alan.
uh, and I could not fathom that they were actually stealing these parts from these people without having their loved ones consent.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, maybe it's lack of knowledge about the
Yep.
organ donation, don't being an organ donor. Because I told you
Mm-hmm.
what my theory was. And again, I can say it's probably ignorance on my part, but it's lack of knowledge, maybe in our community, you know.
Yep.
Or they go that racism thing again. It's
Yep.
like, why should I save their life when they don't care about my life? You know, you just
Mm-hmm.
never know what someone else is thinking. But thank God that you did the right thing or did what you thought was best. And not only you were able to actually meet one of the people and her
Yep.
daughter. So I know that kind of like said, okay, I know my son is living through these people. You know,
Right.
my son's death gave someone else life.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you something, Kayla, just for that mere reason, watch how God turned that situation around with your granddaughter for
Mm-hmm.
your good. It's not going to be long. It may seem long to you, but it's not going to be long before you and her come back in contact, Kayla, because I'm telling you, you're out here doing some amazing things. And God says, if you take care of my people, I'll take care of you, you know.
Absolutely.
So out of all that has transpired, you're still able to shake and move because you know you did a good thing. You
Right.
know that you have done a great thing. I wouldn't say a good thing, a great thing. And guys, we're here tonight talking about life after death. Miss Kayla Brown has lost her son 2018. He was gunned down in the Nebraska area.
In Nebraska, Omaha,
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
And she became an advocate for gun violence and not just gun violence, but organ donation. So, Kayla, if one would like to get in contact with you, please tell us how they can do so.
So I have a email which is called Voice of Keys, which Keys is my son's nickname. So it's voice and then keys, KEYZ, at yahoo.com. That's through email. Um, Phone number
No,
402
don't give your phone number over here.
it's a second number.
Oh,
It's a second number.
okay.
Not my first number. But send me a text message first because I do screen those calls. Even though it's a second phone, I do screen those calls because
Yeah,
you do sometimes get a lot of, you know, crazies or you get those what do you call those spam
spam
calls.
calls. Yeah.
Yeah. So that number is 402-312-9573. That is, it's a second number that I have that I give out. It used to be my main number, but now I leave it as my second number. Um, but
Facebook.
email definitely. Facebook, Kayla Brown. Um, I do have a business page, which is Juicy by K. Um, I started a business in regards to my son. Um,
Is it still
it,
the lip
uh,
glosses and things like that?
yep, yep.
Kayla, did you get that website done?
Nope. Everything right now I'm doing is by word of mouth, and I'm just thankful that when I go to these events for when I'm speaking out, people just buy it, and I feel like right now I need to make a trip back to Florida to get more products because I left a lot of products, but I also brought a lot of products. But it's like, okay, I got to come back to Florida to get you know more. Like I have a whole storage full of products.
Yeah, you need to go back and get it. But you need
Yeah.
to also, and I told you that I would help wherever I could as far as your website and getting that in order, because not just for if you started for him, you should get
Hmm.
a page for him. The what is it, Live
Right.
for Keith? What was it?
Voice of Keys.
Voice of Keys. So yeah,
Hmm.
you have my number, and I'm not gonna say it again. I'm gonna just wait for you. Whenever you're ready, because I think it's something that when you have that, you could get more poured into it. Because one, say if somebody want to donate, right? They're gonna want to
Hmm.
say, "Let me go over to her website," or
Right.
social media is the thing too, the networking. So I'm not sure how much you're on that and you promote that, but that's something that you definitely should get a hang on, because you should
Hmm.
be coming up on your second event. I
Yeah.
know that after you know what you got going on in the green room,
Hmm.
I ain't gonna wait for you. I'm gonna get
I'm
on your
coming there.
and you're gonna do it. I'm not
I'm
in Florida.
coming there. I'm coming to Georgia. I'm coming to
All right,
Georgia.
well, come
But
on, so we could get you started, because I'm telling you, this is how you could get so much more poured into what you're
hmm
doing and getting the word out there. You know what I'm saying? So, and then
right.
not only that, bringing something in, because you can't, and look who's talking, you can't be putting money out and not having any coming in. You're sitting on money.
I am.
You
And,
know,
it's funny because like I was really prospering with doing it, and then with our mutual sister, when that tragedy happened,
yeah.
it it it, it sent me somewhere else for a little while, and I'm just like one day I almost call her, and I'm like, dang, I can't call her. Sometimes when I feel some type of way, I could call. We could call Cena anytime.
Hmm.
She didn't sleep, and I was like, I can't call her, and I was afraid to call you, and it was just like, okay,
Wait,
let me just sit
you
down.
were afraid to call me?
I don't know. I don't know.
One thing about it, you know that I don't care if she was asleep, she would get up and answer her phone. That's one thing
She
I know
would.
about my sissy. And Shannon Jaguars Diva is our superstar. She loves Cena as well. She actually took over Cena. Cena used to find people to come on the show. Cena did so much. She's so this show so much, and Shannon has
She did.
really stepped in. Not that she wasn't there before, but she really. You got me messed up when you mentioned Cena, because it's still
Well, Cena, we gotta give homage to Cena because
have to.
Cena is the reason why
We
I'm here. This is why I'm a two-time returnee
yes,
because of Cena.
yes. I'm
It's
telling
because
you,
of her. So I got it, before I got off of here, I had to give it to her because she gave it to us.
absolutely. And I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but I didn't go in too much in detail because we sit and we think about it.
No, don't do that. Because we went through all of that and we did not cry. Not one time. We got this.
No, because it takes me back. It takes me back to the time with Baby Jackson.
Oof.
And that was just like a double blow. You know what I'm saying? And Cena I'm talking about, that was a true angel on earth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
true, true angel on earth. And you know how sometimes you suppress things, and you were saying how you did like the drinking and stuff like that. I think mine is food, sweets. I was just
Mm-hmm.
telling my mom about this the other day, and you don't even realize like how much you're suppressing
Yep.
when you're used to talking to someone every day, like
Mm-hmm.
practically all day. The only time we probably didn't talk is when I was on the show, and shortly
Mm-hmm.
after, got
But
off.
she'd be on the show.
She'll be on the show. That's what I'm
She'd be on
saying.
the show.
Yeah. So that's why I said to you, you take all the time that you need to grieve. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and these tears are joy because
Mm-hmm.
that's all she bought. That's all she bought to anybody she ever came in contact with. And like Shannon say, my forever angel. I'm gonna fight you about that, Shannon, because she my forever angel. think I'll go ahead and share her with you. But yeah, Cedar is how we met. They kept saying you have to meet her. I have someone I want you to be on, who I want to be on the show. And again, just thank God that we're still here to pay homage to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Because
I'm
it's the instant connection that I had with it. Like I met mom when she came to Nebraska. Her dad, I worked at another nursing home, and I actually met mom through Maddie.
Yeah, I think they told.
Maddie is how I met mom.
I think they
Because
told.
mom used to Maddie would come to the desk because I was the receptionist. Maddie would come to the desk and she'd just sit there, and I just had a whole conversation with this little girl, a whole conversation,
She is
and talked to.
a
She is
ball of
she is.
joy.
Mm-hmm. And we mentioned Florida, and bam.
Wow.
And then I when I was driving back, the many times that I had come back and forth from Nebraska to Florida, I
Yeah.
met Cena and instantly fell in love with her.
Yeah.
And same as with you, it was like the energy that I felt from you. I was like instantly, and I hadn't even met you personally yet. I just met you through this,
Yeah.
But then when I met you in person, it was just like.
Oh, thank you. And the circumstances when we met, it was just, I tell you, but the thing is, the connections, when God put people
Mhm,
in your path, we never know why. We don't even know
mhm,
how long they stay. And I was just saying this the other day, like I am literally, and I know fear is not of God, but I kind of pull back from people because I don't want to experience this hurt again.
mhm.
And I know we all have to go.
Right.
but it has to be a trick of the enemy because I should be enjoying this life we're given, right?
Right,
Not,
right.
and somebody told me the other day too, we do it backwards. We cry when someone passes and we rejoice when someone is born. It's natural. It's not the biblical
Mm-hmm,
way, but it's natural, right?
mm-hmm,
So I kind of start pulling back from folk because of that mere reason. 'Cause I just
mm-hmm.
literally had talked to her, Kayla, like 10, 20 minutes before, and she kept saying, I'm tired.
Mm,
Life after death, people. Life
absolutely.
after death. And you mentioned Maddie, and I know Maddie has had some moments where Cena came in contact with Maddie.
Mm,
And I'm telling you, me and my mom was in my house one day, and I have the fridge that has like the I guess it's a computer on it. And the thing just started playing music.
mm.
I said, you know what? I say, Cena, you better go on about your business. It's time for you to say, Cena. Uh, no, man. You know, and I always say when you see the red birds, that's your loved
Yep,
one letting you know that they're okay. And as
yep.
you know, well, you don't know because you haven't visited me yet. I have like a big backyard with trees, and they often come. And I say, "Okay, Daddy," and see,
Mm-hmm,
I see y'all. You know,
mm-hmm.
uh, I'm telling you,
Oh
we're
yeah,
blessed. So losing her was hard. Shannon, I'm trying.
yes,
Yes, it was very, very
yeah,
hard. Yeah,
yeah. It
very hard.
was, it was.
It's still unbelievable because sometimes I sit there and I be like, you want to pick up the phone. Sometimes I go through, I still have our text messages and I go through our text messages. I go through our
Mm-hmm.
pictures. And one beautiful, well, it was a beautiful, sad memory that I have. Kayla, when I moved to Georgia, she was not happy camper.
Oh,
So my son and I, we went back to Jacksonville and we just had enough time to have lunch. And
I see that.
she cried
Oh,
like a baby. And that thing had me messed up. I was like, okay, well, I'm only 4.5 hours away. I'll try to get back as much as I could. And we were planning for her to come up. But that's okay. She,
she's there. She's
yeah.
there all the time now. She's there all the time.
And you talked about carrying Keith with you. Matt, that's what Maddie do with Cena.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
But to God be the glory for all the things He has done. Kayla, you're doing a great thing. I didn't mean to burst out in tears, but that was my girl.
I know.
That was my girl. Still is my girl.
She
Like
give you the shirt, the skirt, the socks, the shoes.
she'll give you her fingernail if you needed one.
She might not give you that wig, but she gonna give you something.
You better get my sister. That's one thing about her, though. She was a burst of fresh air.
Hmm.
Telling you, anytime you can't have a bad day around her. You couldn't.
No.
You just couldn't. You couldn't. Well, Sissy, it's gonna be okay. You know that little voice she had. I tell you, look, I didn't put on no makeup today because I look. If I would, it would have been a mess right now if I would have. Well, listen, we have to. That's one of the things here we do. Is my journey, my pain, my purpose. We know that we all gonna face some type of pain, some type of it. Don't know what it may be, but we know that we're gonna face some type of it. But we like to tell the people, how is it that we not that we overcome it. Well, some of the it's we do overcome, but now that you're going through this grief, I would say you overcoming it as well. But it will never go away. Is don't get me.
No.
Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm so messed up. But it's that here it is. We found out all about life after death because through your son's death, 5 people or more, because you gave platelets and things like that as well, was able
Hmm.
to live. And
Yep.
guys, if you missed it, she spoke about giving her son kidney, and through her, listen, through her son's kidney, a young lady lived, gave birth to another princess, but then her mom was rebirthed because they didn't like Black people. And to find out that it came from a Black person gave her a change of heart. So, guys, if you
Hmm.
missed the earlier part of this broadcast, you definitely want to go back and rewatch it. It will definitely bless your soul. And not only just that, you can definitely find out all about being an organ donor. Kayla could give you the dibs on it. Her page is Kayla Brown on Facebook. Her phone
Yep.
number was
402-312-9573.
and
And my email, voice of keys, KEYZ at yahoo.com.
yes. So if you want to find out, because like you said, you became an advocate and excuse me in our community. Maybe it's just a lack of knowledge. So maybe you could get.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to do another event. This not me talking. You deal with God on this, but you're gonna have to do another event. Is what I'm hearing.
I'm coming to Georgia to do it. I'm going to come to Georgia and you can help me.
All right. You know that I will.
Oh,
So
yeah.
listen,
Definitely coming.
we had a
I
great.
told you I was coming, but I'm definitely coming.
Well, especially when you get smashed.
Man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in here with us at It Had to Happen for our Wisdom Wednesdays. And our topic was tonight was life after death. If you missed the earlier part of this broadcast, again, I go back and rewatch it. Even if you were on earlier, go back and watch this broadcast because I told you some of the times, most of the times, I always go back to rewatch and it's something that I missed. Let's see what our Superstar is saying we were accountability buddies with both because we both could sense when something is wrong. We miss you, Cena. Yep, absolutely. Oh, Shannon says she's an organ donor.
Thank
See?
you. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. So see, look at there. God is so amazing, I'm telling you. So Kayla, this is what I want you to do as far as that situation with your granddaughter. I really want you to get before God for the next 7 days. And I just want you to begin to pour out to him. And when you
Absolutely.
pour out to him, don't be afraid to tell him what you want and be very specific. Very,
Hmm.
very specific. If you want it to be green, say you want it to be green. But I need
Right.
you to be very, very specific with him. But the very
Absolutely.
one thing, he's not going to do it until you forgive that person. I don't know who it
Absolutely.
is, but you do. And when you forgive that person, it's going to be able to make a change and open doors for you and your granddaughter. It's not just you going to forgive them, but you also have to wholeheartedly forgive them.
Absolutely.
Let God deal with them because there's nothing that you can do because when your number is called, they're not going to ask whoever that person is. God's not going to say, Kayla, what did Susie do to you? He's going to ask
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
you do. So you need
Right.
to release them. You can still love them, but you need
Right.
to release them.
Right.
Now you know how to go about dealing with them. So that's going to be your assignment, Kayla. You know that I love you. You know that I'm
Absolutely.
here for you. Again, I'm going to stay on your butt about for this organization. Have you even filed your? We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. But
Yeah.
we do thank all of the viewers for tuning in here with us at It Had to
Absolutely.
Happen on this Wednesday night. Y'all, we almost in May. Can you believe it? 2023, May 2024 is gonna be here before you don't blink. You might miss something. So
My
Kayla,
son will be graduating.
you'll be an empty nester.
Yes.
Oh, so listen to this. Is there anything that you would like to leave with the audience on today? Because our viewers rock. Listen, we're a whole 46 minutes past through, and they're still here. They're still here. So we have to shout them out. Okay. So is there anything
Absolutely.
you'd like to leave with them on today?
Just keep on living, live on. And if you have, just please contact me if you have questions in regards to organ donation, gun violence, or if you just feel like you want to say a prayer for me, or I say a prayer for you, please don't hesitate. Because I am open to anything and everything. If you even have suggestions for me, I am open to it all. And I just appreciate everyone that is on here, and Erica for having me here for the second time. You know, it- it's nothing but God that just keeps making me go and keep letting this lady just be a part of my life, because he could have took her, as they say, some people are here for a season and some people are here for a reason. It's a reason why Erica is still here with all of us, not just me, with all of us. All of us. So I watched that live that you told me to watch, and you, ma'am, yes, you better get to pastoring, ma'am.
What? wait. We want my Jamaican voice here. Wait.
You better you need to be someone's pastor, somebody's pastor, everybody's pastor, because when you give word, baby,
It's
baby.
all God. Let me tell you that. But whoa, you putting a heavy weight on me right
Oh
now.
no, that's not heavy, because
Don't make me hot.
that's what you supposed to be doing.
Woo, girl, you got me right up in here. Guys, listen. Tonight's prayer. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. I hear you. I receive it. But good God Almighty. Yes. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you would like to book with your girl, listen, you got me messed up. You can go to my website at www.ericawilsonih2h.com. Again, www.ericawilsonih2h.com. Kayla is all God. Let me tell you, it's all God, because I'm telling you, like you say, sometimes you're walking around and we get it dressed up, but in the inside, I ain't gonna say dying because I ain't dying, I'm living, but you're hurting.
Mhm.
And what makes me keep going, and I can see what you're saying about your son, what makes you keep going is people like you that give me this opportunity to pour into them, and not just pour into them, just hear your story and be like, girl,
Mhm.
you tripping. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
you better get it together. So this is what
Mhm.
I love that God has loaned me. It had to happen. And listen, I didn't even realize that you were here 2 years ago. I haven't even been doing the anniversary here at IH2H. I don't even know how long I actually even been on doing this, but only by His grace that I'm still here. And people like you
Mhm.
who are trusting in me, accepting the invitations, and also people reach out to even be on the show. I just thank God
Mhm.
for that. So this is my ministry, and I'm telling you, when someone called me, Kayla, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and they asked, how can I sow into your ministry? And I said, don't make me cry. And
Mhm.
I have to be obedient, and I have to sow into your ministry. And they blessed my soul. Let me tell you. And I actually was feeling like, who can I help with what they sold into me? You see,
Right.
one giver, but at the end of the day, it just made me feel so appreciated. not just by the monetary, what they sold into me, just by you guys getting on here, the viewers, the guests, supporters, even if they supporting from afar, it matters. It matters.
Right.
This here that I'm doing, like I was trying to tell you, you sitting on money, you need to get to it. When you're putting out and you don't have anything coming in, it could get a little strenuous. You know what I'm saying? And I do production, I do the graphic, I do all of this. And my mom be like, Erica, are you coming downstairs? I'm like, Mom, I'm working. I'm working. I don't know nobody physical job, but I'm working, y'all. I'm working to make this happen because I love doing this. So it's not about the money for me, but it's just I love, I feel appreciated. Even if by you just saying what you just said, kind words,
right,
goes a long way. And we talked about sticks and stones, break out, but we're gonna have to bring you back for domestic violence too. I think that wasn't that this month?
Is domestic violence child abuse is this month. Child abuse and organ donor is this month.
Look at God, Kayla. I didn't even know that when I reached out to you about the show.
Yep.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get off here because we almost 2 hours in. But I ever feel like you're afraid to call, because that's one of the things I can say. My phone is on. Never. Because if I miss my little Chasey call, I'll be feeling so bad. That's my grandbaby. So I got to keep my phone on because he do some of the sweetest things, Kayla. Oh my gosh, he gonna take all my money. Both of them. But it's again such an honor to be here with you on tonight, and thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and I'm definitely going to pray your strength, and definitely in those areas that we talked about. But again, don't ever be afraid to pick up the phone and call, because the only thing I can do is what? Not answer and call you back.
And I'm gonna be in Georgia.
God be the glory for all the things he has done, guys. We're forever grateful for each and every one of you hanging in here with us on tonight, taking 2 hours out of your time to stay with us. Man, that says a lot. That said that we're doing something right, Kayla. So again, we have to bring you back as a 3-timer. I done had a 4-timer on. Wait, maybe she said 5-timer. 4 or 5-timer, but it's just so good to see that you guys really believe in me and trust me with your stories. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead and send them out some virtual hugs, and I'm going to send you a hug too, and some virtual love, because guys, we love you here. It had to happen, and we cannot do this without each and every one of you. So until next time, I don't have a show for tomorrow, but I have another blessing on Monday. I have the Travis Benjamin. He is a wide receiver, retired. I think he's retired, but I'm going to say University of Miami. It's all about the youth. But played the league for years. He's out of Belgrade, Florida. I will have him here with me on Monday, God's willing. Meet me back here at 6 p.m. to hear his story, to see what he have got. Life after football, even in the down season, there's still life. When they're playing too, it's still life after football, right? What happens when that uniform come off? Find out on Monday at 6 p.m. God's willing. Meet me back here. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their friend. God bless each and every one of you. Until next time, Kayla, I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Erica's empowering empire. 88 blessings soar movement. It had to happen in a beauty so rare. We'd love for you to join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It had to happen with Erica Wilson. Following our social media.